Hello everyone. Hello everyone. Oh, okay. We will begin in a short while, just in a minute or so. So we will begin. So I will share my screen, and today we are going to cover a few visuals in Power BI, and we will see a few more stuff around that. So let me share my screen. Okay. Yes, I think my screen is visible. Okay. So let's begin our today's journey. So we have learned till time intelligence. We have seen few stuff, and we already covered table visual. But let's do more stuff today around the table visual. So the visuals which we can use in Power BI, the standard visuals are already available here. Other than that, those visuals, we have few more visuals which we can take from the app source. There are quite a bit of it which we can take it from using the get more visuals. So there are partner visuals, there are visual from Microsoft, and all those. So we can use those. So we'll first visit with the start with the table visual. Now in the table visual, uh, we can drag like any items, and the moment we drag it, the first thing which you will see is this is going to show you distinct values. So it's not that I've dragged from item, and item have only brand 13 times. Item has brand quite a few times. So by default, Power BI shows the, if you take more one or more values, it is actually the grouped data or the distinct data. And the moment you add a major, now when you add a major, and if a major contains a filter, then those filters will get applied. Now if there are two majors, let's say we have we have a major which is basically restricting for brand 1, and we have another major which is restricting for brand 10. Then when you add the visual in the visual, the major which is restricting into brand 1, it is only going to show you brand 1. But when you add the major which is for brand 10, now both brand 1 and brand 10 would be shown. uh, so basically, when you have more than one major and both all the majors are filtering, you will have maximum coverage for those majors. So that's, and this is the same reason, like, and majors, the, let's say I have top 10 rank and I have just have rank. Now if I put the rank which is top 10 or top 10 function, and then I put a rank also, then I'll see all the records. And then let's say I want to restrict it to only top 10 only, even for the other column. So either all the columns should follow the top 10 code, or we should use a visual level filter. So every visual can have a visual level filter. This is available on the filter pane. So let me close this one. So you have this filter pane. In this you can have a visual level filter, then you can have a page level filter on all the page filters. So every visual will follow these three filters. And so if there is a page level filter which is filtering something, and further the visual level filter is filtering something, that filter will get added up. So this is how these things work. In table visual, it is simple table, it is not going to format. So even if I add, let's say, along with brand state, it's not going to create, excel kind of a view of where the brand should not repeat for the states, and then we can have merge columns and all those. That is not going to happen in the table visual. So let's say if I go to geography and I bring in state along with the brand, so you will see brand is repeating along with the states, and there is no way you can say brand one and then brand one once and then all the states and all those. Another thing which you can do with the table visual, which is not available in the another visual, which is matrix visual, which is you can have multiple sorting. So let's say I want to sort on brand and then on state. So I can sort on brand by clicking on it, and then I can again, with the shift click, I can click on the state. So now I'm sorting on brand and then state. Or maybe I go ahead and set on net, and inside net I want to set sort, let's say, states, or let's say brand. So then I can do that. Okay, so the second sorting can be done. So you can have more than one column which can get sorted in case of this one. Now you can see there here multiple columns have been checked out here. Then sort ascending and sort descending, that can also be done. Sorry. Now let's look at the properties of the table visual. So general properties are something which we can leave around. Now there is a style, like right now this is default style, this is the style, but you can change it, like minimal. So you see this white kind of all things. Then you have alternating rows. This header has changed, this has changed. Then you have this one. Then you have condensed, pretty much Excel kind of a look. Fleshy rows. And when you change these, you will see that the grid properties will you might give you some different options and all those. So little bit changes can happen based on the theme. So we'll keep it default only. Now then we go to whether you want to have this vertical grid on or off, these grid lines, horizontal grid color, horizontal grid thickness. I don't think you can make it 0. See, minimum is 1. Row padding, you can reduce the row padding. So between the row, distance between the row. Outline color, outline weight, text size. So text size is something which we are already controlled by theme. And image height. Now image height, what happens when you put an image in this one, so there would be a size which would be shown. So maximum size is 150. Okay, so that is only applicable when you add an image to it. So image would be shown in a particular size, almost you can double it up whatever it has been shown initially. Then column header formatting options are there as usual, text, font, italic, bold, and all those are there. Then values. Now values, you can have font color, background color, alternating colors, and all those are there. The most important thing which you are going to use, then you have the total options, like total on and off. You can switch off the total. You can change the total label. I want to call it grand total instead of total. Font color, background color, on only, top only, left only, and all those options are available. Outline, top, this outline. Right now it is only top. So you can say top and bottom, then you will see line on the bottom also. Field formatting is there. How do you want to format the field? Then something important is their conditional formatting. Now in condition in table in conditional formatting, you will also see the categorical columns: brand, state, net, gross. So what does mean is that you can do conditional formatting on brand, state, net, and gross also. Okay, so we have those options available. Now when you do conditional formatting, you, let's say, click on the brand, and immediately it will open up this. Now there are three options: gradient, rule, and field value. Gradient means based on a particular value. Let's say we have a range on the margin percentage. Based on that margin percentage range, we say okay, from lower to higher value, just give us a gradient. Now gradient could be two color gradient, one color gradient, so you will see. And now same gradient, you can repeat the margin gradient in all the columns. Now what happen in such case, when you repeat this on all the columns, the all the, you will feel, you will get an impression like, there is a row coloring. So there is no concept of row coloring in Power BI, but only on table visual you can actually go ahead and do conditional formatting on all the columns. And if you do same conditional formatting on all the columns, you will get a feel like a row coloring. So if you need to do row coloring, it means the only option is table visual, and repeat the same thing for all of them. Now when you again click on this advanced, the second one is a rule base. So in the rule base, we can say okay, if the margin, all our margin is negative, so if it is less than, let's say, minus 2, yeah, 20%, 20% to 0, we can call it number. And when you use percentage, please remember, sometime it is not about percentage. Don't take percentage of percentage. Percentage means distributing 33% value going there, 50% value going there, and all those. So that is the reason why we end up taking, numbers only. So greater than this, and let's say 1, all of them are, let's say, green. So first of all, the percentage is in decimal places, -1 to +1. So that is one thing. Second thing, what we are doing here is basically, we are taking number, not percentage, because otherwise for the entire range it is going to divide it into 100% and is going to do it. So we are taking numbers, and then in number we are taking the decimal numbers. Okay. So it done something out here. It's all green. We need to put the margin percentage and check it out. Okay. So all are positive, few are negative. So negatives are coming in red and positives are coming in. Okay. So now let's again go back. Now there is a third option also, which is basically the field value. Now in the field value, what it expect is, and when you click on the measure, you will not see any, other than this measure here. So it is expecting a text returning measure, which actually returns the color. So how do we create such a color conditional formatting measure? Now conditional formatting measure can use these text values or can use these numeric values. It's the only thing you have to write down. So how you create such a measure? Let's create a conditional formatting measure. So we say color, and we say switch. I'm going to create a combination of that one, and I'm going to show you. So what I want to say here is, if, let's say, table max of item brand equals to brand 1, then let's say we get a yellow color. We always get a yellow color for brand 1, whether we margin is there or not. Okay. Now second condition we change altogether. Now here we will not even talk about brand. We will say margin percentage is less than 0, then show green color. Is something wrong here? Once we close, we need to check. Else we will say else show red color. We have given first preference to brand, so we say okay. Let's see. Okay, everything is correct. So what happens? Brand one should get yellow color irrespective of margin, and rest of the places margin green and red. And we can create a permutation combination of this. So now we go here on our table visual, and we go to conditional formatting. We go to advanced controls. We go here, and instead of margin, we instead of rule, we say first of all field value, and in field value we use color. Color is the major which we created. So you can see that there are red, there are yellow. Wherever it is brand one, it is yellow, and then now we have done some mistake. We have said less than zero is green, so that's why it's less than zero is green and rest of the places is red. So let's look at this color measure and correct it. So we say greater than zero is green. So what we are saying, so whenever you use a categorical measure, you have to use the max. So it should be available in context. Otherwise, it will search for the context based on the values available in the visual. So brand is available inside this one. So that's why we are using max. So max of brand in the row is going to be same. Like brand one is there, then max of brand is brand one. Then it is yellow. Margin greater than zero is green and red. So this is the color measure which is we have created. I'm going to give it to you. So we created this color measure. Now I change this color measure, and you can see immediately it has changed. So now the the, the only disadvantage of the color measure is this, that you cannot have gradient colors. It will be really difficult to create a gradient color, because how many conditions would you give and all those? You can think about two three colors and all those. So gradient is that something we cannot achieve, but otherwise it is really powerful. You can see that you can give categorical conditions, you can also give the numeric conditions here, and we will come back when we go again to the bar visual. We will do something more with this. Now we were talking about one more thing, like we can color the rows. So I go to state, I switch it on, and I say field value, and I'll say color. So I'm going to okay, and we say okay. See, now this is two of them are same. So same way, if you repeat it in net, gross, and margin, and let me quickly repeat that so that you get an impression of a row coloring. And those of you who are trying with me, they can actually go ahead and now create the color measure, and don't need to wait for me to color this complete one, because this is just for showcasing. So if you are able to create the color and color measure, then it should be, and the moment we click it, it starts showing something on background. That is by default nature. Now you can see that you will get a feeling of a row color. Now let me add the last one, margin percent, and think everything is right now covered by only single margin percentage color. Okay, so we are using the color measure, which is same color measure for all the rows. So it is following the same logic for all the columns, and that is why we are feeling the coloring like a row coloring. Now there you could be different combinations which you can try out in this one. And then grand total we have not given. We could have actually included the grand total also. So when you go to, let's say, margin and you go to advanced control, then you have this option values only. Instead of value, you can say value and grand total. So that will also get color. So in this case, this will only get this, but we can repeat this for all five. So in this manner, you can do conditional formatting. Now, not only you can do conditional formatting, you can also do font formatting. Same thing. The font will get colored. Here, the background got colored. You can get the font colored. Now, something special which we have is the data bars. Now let me do one thing. Let me create one more visual here, and let's try data bar. So we create brand wise, and by default, if you drag a text column just on the empty page, it's going to create the table visual. Now we created this one. Now we go back to the conditional formatting, and in the conditional formatting we are going to try out the bar, and data bar is not available for text. So by default, if you see here, it is brand. So make it net. So once you make it net, you will see the data bar options is there. You click the data bars start appearing. You have certain advanced control. You don't have much control here. You have a positive and negative bar, and you can only change the color there. and you say show only bar, it means it will hide the text. Okay, so you want to show only bars, you can do it. Not much control like conditional formatting, they do this color, do that color, that kind of stuff is not there in the bar. Only limited controls are there for positive negative values, those you can use. Okay, so now we have done that. If let's say font formatting, let's take example of font formatting. I go to the brand, here I change it to brand, and then I click on font formatting, and here in this new one we will go again and use field formatting, and we will use color. So you will see now this time the color is on the font, the font has been colored instead of the background. So font color. Now you have icon also. Now icons can be like, let me take yeah, so let's click on icon. Now icon you can choose like based on like count, you can say, oh no, based on margin we should do, or based on net we should do. So we can go ahead and choose a major, let's say net, based on the net. And if I keep it percentage, it should automatically divide that, net into 3%, and then it should do it. So I'm just leaving that, and you can see this, depending on what is the net amount is there, and like we can drag again net here individual. Just want to make same. Okay, so you can see the based on this one, you have the icons based on the net value. Go again back to the conditional formatting. Then this the last one, and then there are icon advanced control, you can go ahead and change it. You can choose different like say this and this one, or this filled one, or these kind of stuff. These are limited one. And more if you need, then you have to use by your own measure of using unicorn and all those. Unicare is there, Unicare you can use. See, here you have these, which is the largest one and all those. See, brand 3 and brand 8. And if you sort, you will be able to understand why this is like this. Now you can understand better. Like when I sorted on that, based on that, you will be able to understand why it is going like that. Now, if you don't need this, you can use Unicare. A Unicare will be created as a major, and then you need to do the color. Just like color, we can return the Unicare, and then that is a major, and then you can again use color on top of it. We will try that later. So this is table visual for you, and I'll pause for a minute or so, uh, taking your questions. Let me see if there are any questions here. I don't see any questions, so let's wait for a couple of seconds for this. Okay, I don't see any questions, so let's jump onto the next visual, the matrix visual. Okay, now matrix seems like another table visual, but it is not. It's kind of a pivot table kind of a stuff which is there with us. So we can, have rows and columns. Now, let me drag row here, and let me drag net. And net will go to value. So here, rows and columns are by default grouped. Now, when you create a table visual, you have opportunity to say don't summarize. Okay, but there is no opportunity to say no summarize in net. So if you go here, let's say if I simply want to add something like something from sales here, let's say quantity. So I have an option here to say don't summarize, do not summarize value. So I can go at the grouping level instead of this one. But here, let me drag quantity here. I do not have an option to say no, don't summarize. So everything which is in the values is going to be summarized. It means basically these are group bys, rows and columns are group bys is going to summarize. Now, while you have these property like style, grid, column headers, row headers, and all those, and subtotals, which you can say disable, enable, okay, and you have grand total. And now the thing here is that even the grand total get disabled and enabled because of subtotals only, okay. So that's something which is strange but true. Okay. Now, when you go to conditional formatting, the first change you will observe that you don't have the rows and columns where you can do conditional formatting. So in a matrix, practically we cannot achieve a complete row formatting. The only row formatting can happen on the value column. If you have more than one value column, it will work for it. But you cannot have a conditional formatting on the complete row. So definitely whatever is there in the row is not going to get conditional formatting. Again, background, font, data bar, icon formatting remains same. Web URL is something, if you have a web URL, you can do a web URL conditional formatting to show the icon and all those. That is what you can do. Now, so we have net, we can drag another major here. Let's say cogs, we can drag in this one. So now let's say if this is not open, I can drag it here only. And because it's a major, it's going to drag it into the values. Now the next thing which we can do in this one is, let's inside this one I want categories, or inside the category I can have brand. So now I got this kind of display. Now once you have this display, one thing is you can click and open like this. Okay, you can click and open like this. Now you see these icons out here. Now you say drill down, enabled, you say parallel, next level. Even without that you can say. So once, let me go up. Okay, you can have like this. So once you use drill down, this only category will remain. Okay, if I simply click here, I can expand, but if it's drill down, then I can drill with that category as a filter. Okay, now this is really important. Expand, the reverse square y icon is on the top. This, if we do this, actually going to expand, means the current level will also remain and the next level. So the difference between this parallel and this one, this takes you to the next level, this expand you to the next level. So the expansion happens. So this is the next level, and this is the expand, means both the levels are there together. Okay. Okay, so now when you do this display, there is one more option available in this display. So another option available is stepped layout of. This is what we call stepped layout. So you have to search for stepped layout, and first of all, if you want to increase the space of the stepped layout, you can do that, indentation and all those you can control. Okay, now I say stepped layout off. Once you do stepped layout off, this is your kind of a pivot table view, where you can have things are like there, this. So you can quickly try these out, the step layout view. In case you have some question, please. So there is a question: after all the data modeling, shall we export to the same into Excel? I'm not sure why you want to export back in Excel. You can do analysis here. There is something known as analyze in Excel, where you will be able to use the Power BI data model. So you can use that also. Now, one more thing which you can do with the matrix visual is basically, so you see this, that you can add a column here. And now what we are going to do here is, let's add subcategories into the columns. So now you got data like this. And because I have larger one here, so what I can do is I can have states on the column. So you will see a lot of data. Okay. So for each data, this net and cogs is repeating. And if you add more than one here, so the x, you will get expand option for both rows and columns. So if, let's say, if I add city here, now you see I can, where I want to expand. I want to expand on rows or I want to expand on columns. So if I do columns, you will see that I still have the opportunity to expand. So I can expand or I can drill down. So both the places I'll have that option. So I'll get Alaska, and inside Alaska I have only one city. Then Arizona I have few cities. Now one of the, and then it started showing there are too many values, so it's not displaying everything. Okay, so you need to be a little bit careful that matrix, if there are too many values, it may not display. So the moment you see that icon, there's something wrong. So I have removed that. Another thing which you cannot do here in the matrix, you cannot move this net and cogs above. So if you want to move net and cogs, then you, what you need to do is, you actually have to create a kind of a pivot, unpivoted table where you have the net and cogs. And if they are majors, then it would further make it complicated. So that's something which you cannot do. But yes, you create calculation group, it becomes like a dimension also, then you can also go ahead and do that. Now let's do one more thing here. Now there is something known as show on row. Now it's really complicated visual right now, but let's experiment with show on. So if I do show on row, the majors will move from here to here on the row. So they are moved on the row. So this kind of structure you can create. Now again, the majors will not move before. They will remain here only. So you can try that out. The other properties on the matrix visual which we can explore, basically we already seen the conditional formatting we can only have on the majors. Then background color is background of the matrix. Border, shadow, and tooltips. For tooltip, we will learn sometime tooltip page. You can watch a video on the tooltip page, and you can create tooltip page. So I think rest other properties are same as this one. So now what we are going to do, we look at what questions you have, and we will next jump on the bar visual. So there is a question, what if my data is stored on different SQL server, how the model data using in Power BI? So if you are using import mode, it doesn't matter. Now, if you are using import mode and you are bringing the tables, then it doesn't matter. You can even combine certain things. Let's say you want to combine dimensions and all those, you can combine those. Uh, Preferably in Power Query, followed by DEX if needed some more complex transformation. You can continue to do that transformations in Power Query or DAX. So that's not. Now if both are direct query, that would be little bit challenging, but you will be able to add and create relationships. But that should also, one thing which import plus direct query is something you should be able to easily do with such models. So as long as it is imported, it doesn't matter where is the source, because this Power BI is going to have the data inside the system, and then you can do all the transformation, combining of dimensions, and creating common dimension and all those. Okay, so that you can do. Okay, somebody is asking for using Hindi. This is English series. Sorry, we have a separate live series for Hindi. So we'll continue in English here. Okay, so now we will go to the bar visual. Now bar visual, there are two kind of bar visuals. We have clustered column bar and we have clustered bar chart. Now the display is the orientation. One is vertical orientation and one is horizontal orientation. Now Power BI could have given just orientation option and could have managed that, but Power BI has preferred to give them a two separate visuals now. So again, so here we have access legend and values. Now when we use legend, there are certain differences and we need to understand that. And I'm going to tell you how can you work without using a legend sometime, and how can we still get the coloring like legends. So that is really important thing which we are going to learn today. So we got to this, uh, we drag brand here, and when you drag only axis, this is not going to show. So you actually need a value column to display it. So I'm going to drag value here. Okay, so we got this visual which is the net by brand. Now this is horizontal, this is like your right now your, or these bars are horizontal in orientation. You do it like this, it becomes column. So we got this orientation. Now if you go to the properties, there are properties in x-axis. Now this is really important property, like you can change the x-axis color based on the function. Okay, then if you go to y-axis, there is a start and end, and both start and end can use function. Now previously what used to happen is, that these start and end are static values, but now there is a function available here. Now once you have the function available here, you can actually use a measure. It means you can control what you want to display on this axis based on a measure. Now this is really good when you create a measure slicer, or uh, you have measures which are changing, or you sometimes feel that you want to have additional range. Let's say this is starting ending with 1.0 million. I always want 20% to be space. It is not giving that much of space on the top. Then we can use this start and end, and it will actually allow you to do that. And then second one is invert axis. So if we invert the axis, actually from instead of bottom, it will start doing it from top. So that's the benefit of invert axis, and sometimes you will find that need of invert axis. Now underline and all those are formatting options. Now zoom slider is really interesting option. Now zoom slider, once you enable that, you can actually go and look. So let's say there are certain bars which are very small, and then now you want to look at their comparative value. You can actually go and use this zoom slicer. Now the slicer is available on uh, y-axis, and depending on the visual, it can be also available on the x-axis, like scatter it would be there. Now slider labels, slider tooltips. Okay, so if you want to show the label even when you have the slider, then you can have. And then let's, so you see these labels are changing now. Previously what was happening, this value is not there. So now this slider label is a benefit, that when you slide it up, when you scroll and make it bigger, then you have another label which can tell you what values you are working with right now. Okay, in the zoomed one. Data labels, another important property, you can enable it. Now Power BI, the challenge here with the Power BI is that data labels is on the same column what you have, unless we use something like calculation group or something. The label is on the same column. So some of you has many time asked, I want a different label. The only way to get a different label is we create a clustered line visual, and we give the line width is 0, and then we can show whatever is there in the line. And we show the label for the line, not for the bar. So that is another way. But if you have right now have this one, you will only be able to show whatever is there on this, whatever has been selected as a value. That is the only label you will be able to show. Now let's come at data color. Now data color, you will be seeing it is showing function right now. And I can go, and if you remember, we created this field value as color, and we can use that color also here. So you can see the colors which are happening now. Similarly, you can use field values, you can use uh, rule base or the gradient base. So those also you can try out. Now this is only available, this function is only available till the time you don't use a legend. So what happens when you use a legend? So let's say I will go ahead and use a legend as category. So the moment now this is something like, the moment I chosen this one, the category 1 2 3 4 5, they got their own color. And the moment I go to the data color here, I don't have an option of FX. Even for the conditional formatting FX, I don't have an option. Now you try it out. I'll take your couple of questions which are there on the chat. Now what we will learn post that is, I'll tell you one way where you can avoid using legend in few cases. So now you might also see there are certain gaps also here. These gaps are something which you, because of the missing categories, every brand doesn't have all the categories. Then we will do that thing. Okay, so we will use a feature which will actually help us out, to filling this visual better. And then we will see how can we still do conditional formatting when we have more than one access items. So we will see how to avoid legend, because once you have legend, you cannot do conditional formatting. Okay. uh, in case of two fact table, how may can we use star schema? Yes, definitely. Star schema means fact joins to dimension, dimension joins to fact. So you can have n number of facts, n number of dimensions. Only thing is, don't join dimension with dimension, don't join fact with fact. And exception is there, when you create RLS, you are going to put it on certain dimension table only. So outside the RLS, dimension should not use join with dimension, fact should not join with facts. Perfectly fine to have n number of facts, and there are hardly going to be any schema which is going to only have one fact table. These are sample demo videos where we use one fact table kind of scenario. Real life scenario, you will definitely have more than one fact, more than one dimension. Okay, there's a question like, is it possible for a non-IT background students to learn Power BI and get job? So I think few important things which you need to learn along with Power BI. Now, Power BI can have a few kind of job. Like Power BI, definitely there is a developer job, then there is a business analyst job, and then there is a quality assurance job. Now, quality assurance job means you check the visual, you validate the values, and you make sure that the things are correct, whatever customer has asked for. Now, for any non-IT background, those who not studied database, those who's not studied data modeling and all those, it is easier to enter via the quality assurance route. If you fully understand how data works and Power BI works. But if you want to enter into development alone, Power BI is not going to do. The few things which you need to learn is database concepts, data warehousing concept, business intelligence basic terminology, and Power BI. Any tool, it is Power BI, it can be Tableau and all those. So that will work out. But yes, definitely knowledge is needed all around these. I think these days the preference is what you know more than whether you have IT background or not. Quite a few people who are BCom, they do go ahead and do MC at a later stage, computers master in computer application and all those. So as long as you have that knowledge background, you should be able to do. But yeah, you might have to choose a different path to enter. Maybe you enter first in quality assurance and then you go into development, or you do those things and then you directly enter into the development. Okay, so I'm hopeful that you might have tried out these while I was answering few questions on the chat. Now once we create this kind of things with the legend, the problem with, you can see that there are gaps. We cannot choose the color based on our choice. So now what I suggest sometime is that move this to axis. Now the moment you move to the axis, the category is gone. No, it's not gone. We have these options and we will use expand option. Now the moment I use expand option, it doesn't look good. No problem, it will look good. So go here and do first thing is sort on brand and category. Now which one you want first, which one you want second is very important. Then the next thing you should go and do, there is an option concatenate label. Okay, concatenate label under the x-axis UTC. Now this you see brand 9, brand 8, brand 7. Okay, now go to the x-axis again. Now there is a minimum category width which you can increase or decrease. So I little bit increase it so I get more space here. So I increase the category width so that I get more space. Okay. Now, so you can see brand 9 and all those, and let's italic, bold. I don't think they're going to make any difference for us. Size, inner pad is concatenate label is off. Title is there. Tile color is there. And then text size, bold, italic, underline, grid lines is on. And line color is this one. We can make it black. So you make it black so it will look little bit more. And then the stroke width if you want to increase. Okay. So the separation is pretty dominant now. Now the separation is dominant, but so now we have done all this stuff. We wanted to see whether the conditional formatting works or not. So you are happy that okay, these are separated out. Now data color, we go to data color and we see this. There is an option for conditional formatting already enabled. So let's see something. Yeah, we can see few are yellow, but we don't want this. What we want, either the category should get colored or the brand should get colored. So now what we are going to do is we are going to create a new measure and we will say color category or color brand. So either I want this brand, all these brand 9 to be have same color or these categories to have same color. So categories are less. Just for the example, it's better to color create a smaller one. So let's say color category and we will play around with this. So switch. I can simply write down category here or I can write down true to check. If I have more than one conditions, I can do. Otherwise, I can simply write down max item category. It means I need to now handle each category values and assign color to it. Okay, that's the meaning of it. I have to write down here category 1 what color I want to give. I say category 1 is blue. And let me copy paste this 5 times. Alt enter. I used to go to the next row. Alt enter. Okay, so category 2, let's make it green. And we have a lot of colors. You can easily search out a supported list color name by Power BI that is easily available. So like gray is one more color name which we can use. And we even have a gold and silver color which are available here. So let's say category 4, let's use gold color. We have used a lot of yellow. Let's use gold color. Okay. Alt enter. What other color we can take? Okay, category 5. Let's take. Okay, let's take yellow now. I don't want to use. Let's take red, so it should be a little bit different. Okay, so we got this now. This new measure which is color category. Now I go back to the conditional formatting. I click on this fx function. Now instead of color, I'm going to use color category. So I choose color category, and it should be text. If it is a number, it's not going to choose it. Okay, so now you see the categories are having different colors. So now you can identify the categories. Now there could be one more format which you need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this page. So now you got your categories. You have created a color measure with the category and you have used it. Now everything seems fine, but We can do one more play around with this, and it will give an altogether different look and feel for that. Now this is looking good, but what I want to do is I do want to do one more stuff. I want to move this like this. I want to expand it again. I want to change the sorting. So I moved the category first. I expanded it again. I went to these three dots and I say sort on category. This one. I go and now sometime when you change it, it concatenated label is on or off. It is going to not going to make much difference. You have to repeat these steps. So it is always, see, it was showing that it is correct now. This is something different we got this time around. So when you are switching the axis, even if the concatenate label is off, it will show the sorting. It might not work in one go. You have to repeat this step. So especially when you are doing it for second time, when you're changing certain things. Now you can see that category 5, category 4, category 2, category 1 has colors. Now it may be because we have used the descending sort. So we can say sort ascending. Okay. So we have ascending sort now. So based on the ascending sort you are getting. So now you can see that these are colors which are basically same color for the inside category. So this is altogether a different kind of a look and feel which you can give to your bar visual. So one was this, where inside the brand the category is having the same color, and you can use that conditional format. Means you can put a small table visual, or something where you can show this as a legends. Okay, so I want to know which category has which color, because all the categories are not available here. So I can do here is I can go here, put a small table visual, and I put category into it, and I go here and I say conditional formatting, background color, field value, and I say color category. Okay, so it will show the color, and based on that I can take my decisions. Okay, so try these things out. So you can do a little bit of formatting around it, and you can use it as a legend. We have options like get rid of the total and all those. Okay, okay, we can use. So now what you'll do is, hopefully you are done with this all things on the bar visual. Now the next thing which we wanted to use is a pie visual. Let me call it as bar 1, bar 2. And the quick thing, let's do we check there, does it work in the when we say the vertical one. So before we jump, let's make it as a horizontal bar and just see is the same thing working here. It's also working here. Okay, only thing is concatenated label off, I think, has gone away the moment we done it, and we don't have that option here. So the thing works here, but doesn't have a concatenated label off. But we do horizontal, we do have that option. So that's the difference between the vertical and horizontal. So if you want to do vertical, you will be able to get similar look, but you will not get that concatenate label off option. Okay, so let's go here and do on the create a pie visual. So we can click on a visual on an empty space. Now pie visual is something which actually doesn't have an axis, it's only have a legend. And I'm going to drag category as a legend. So best is pie visual is 5, 10 values, 20 values maximum. And I'm going to drag net here. In pie visual is always, showing a pie of it, percentage of it. So margin, discount are something which you should avoid using there. Now, so this is the basic visual you have. As it's directly have a legend, it doesn't have the axis or something. If you go to data color, you will not see it. But we will tell you today a way to color the condition, color the pie visual of our own choice using the conditional formatting for that. And that's why I knowingly taken these categories here. Now, another thing which you can do is you can have the details added here. The pie might not look so good with those details, so we'll explore that option. But before we do this, we can have certain more thing done with these labels. So if you go to the properties and you go to this data label, and by default this data label is on because it matters in pie visual to what kind of things you wanted to see. Okay, so label style, we can say all labels. So this is all what you can get. You can get the category, you can get the value, you can get the percentage. And then display units you can also control, like none, thousands, and all those. So the moment you do that, that display will change, and I will say auto, because otherwise it will, with the space it will not adjust it correctly. And then we can say only category and percentage of total, or we can only say percentage of total. uh, so Power BI has only given you limited option, means you can't decide whatever you wanted to add. So that's something which is an area of improvement. But yes, we have. Then the color of the label and all those also you can play around with that. And then decimal places we have seen, the format and percentage, you have this percentage value. So there you can have, let's say, two decimal place. So they have given a control for that, like I type 3, so you are able to see three decimal place in the percentage value. So the and value decimal place, so this is again 2.57 million. So I say okay, no, even if value is there, show only one decimal place. So these things you can control now. So you have been given more and more control over all these things. So all these properties are there, so which you can control now. Now we will add the detail column to it. So we go here and we can add brand to details. Now detail will not get a separate color. Inside that you will see this white line which is going to split that. And the visual might look pretty busy in that case. So, busy in that case. So you need to be a little bit more careful when you do that. Okay. Uh, because the visual might not make much sense if you have too many stuff around it. Now I'm going to remove this, and we would like to do one trick out here. Now we know we cannot do conditional formatting on pie visual, but is there a way we can get it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it cluster bar visual first. So any visual which is there, you can actually go ahead and click on the other visual type and it will change it. Now you have the access here and you go to the data color. You see this FX option. It started showing the data color and FX option. I go here, I go say field value. I can use gradient value also. And I say search for color. I say color category and I say okay. So you see these colors are there. Different kind of colors are there. And so these colors are there. We know it's going to happen in the bar visual. Now we go ahead and make it as a pie visual. Category 2 is green, category 4 is yellow. Category 2 is green, category 4 is yellow. All other colors. So till now, you were not able to do conditional formatting on pie visual. Now you are able to do conditional formatting even on pie visual. See this white line which is going to split. So I don't see any questions right now, and I'm hopeful you are able to try it out, and we will jump on to the line visual. To create the line visual, you can click on the line. Power BI, in the line visual, it doesn't matter whether you use date, whether you use brand or category. It is not that it need to be trend visual. Line visual can be any of the column. But let's start with the date. We take a date, we take a value. So whenever you are using date or numeric values, you have an access type. This is continuous. You can change it to categorical. Each date will display. You can change it to continuous back. So when it is continuous, it can actually change the display to this concentrated view or different kind of a view whenever you need it. So these all things are possible. So this is something which you can do with line visual. Continuous access dates are available. So this is one thing. Now what I'm going, again, we can have more than one things out here. So I can have gross margin also here. So we have two categories. Okay. Now there is an option for legend. Now what happens when you want to use legend and you have more than one major, you cannot use a legend. So let me try out this. Let me try to bring category here. So you can have legend or you can have two majors, not both of them. You cannot have best of both of the world. So what we can do is we can remove one of them and we bring in category here. So now you can see this. Now this is pretty busy visual. What we'll do is instead of date, we'll bring a brand out here. Okay. So you have this visual. And now why there is a breaks, because we don't have everything, every category available. So better to have a state out here. Now that will see much better. For each state, how each category is performing, we have that line visual for that. Okay. So you can use legends also. And if you use legends, or whether you don't use the legends, you don't have a conditional formatting option here. So let me go ahead and show you that we have a data color. We can choose a color here. No option for conditional formatting. And then if I go ahead and remove even the category, we do not have a conditional formatting option even available there. Now how to do conditional formatting? The line color will not get changed. Only thing which you can get is the markers, colored markers, and that marker is not same as the marker which line has. So first of all, what is marker in the line? Let's see. So if you go to the shapes here, one is this stock width, okay, and then you can make it 0 to make the line invisible, and that is what I was talking about. When you have a line bar visual, you can make the line disappear. So 0. I'm going to do one more thing here, and I say marker on. So this is your dot visual. Line width is 0 and we show a marker, and we can change the shape of the marker and the size of the marker. Okay, so you can have dots like this. This is still the line visual, but we have made the width 0 and we are able to show. Now the marker, you can go ahead, and minimum width for the marker is 5, not you cannot have below that. Okay, so you can make marker disappear. Now I'm going to switch off the marker, and I let me have the width for my line. Okay, so now I still wanted to have some coloring done here. So the way I work, the way we can get the coloring done is we can go to the bar visual and we can do conditional formatting there. So we go to the data color, we go to the effects, and this time I'm going to do the gradient one. Okay. So you see this is the gradient. So lighter, lighter, lighter is all good. I go and change it to color. See, you see this line having the dots with the color. And I think I observed a new thing. The line color itself has changed a little bit. So let's go back and experiment this. I think newer version they supported this. So we go back here, we go to data color, and we say net. Okay. So we see two in different color and rest is in red colors. Okay. We go and make a line visual now. So now you see the because it was a blue line, so it was seeing like shading has been done, but you can see the dots only have the color, and we can now this color will not change much with the marker. That's the if you go to the marker here and you add it, another marker is show marker here. That marker and this marker is not same. Even if you increase the size, you will see a separate marker coming behind. Okay, of the blue color. That's not the same. The only thing is it's able to highlight the color well, but it is this different. So it is not the same marker what you are getting. Okay, but you will still be able to show certain dots as colored dots. So, but you will not be able to color the line. Okay. So this is line visual for you. We will try now the visual which is the map visual. We have few map visuals. I will take the map as the first one. And then I drag state. So state and the city which you can drag here, and state you can see if it is not marked as data category state, you can go ahead and say state and province. So it will become geographical. Similarly, city here you can go ahead and say city. So we drag the state here. We immediately start seeing the dots. And to give these dots, we can drag the size. Okay. Now you can go here and in the data color, the option for conditional formatting, and you can say based on margin percentage. I'm using the gradient based on the margin percentage to color them. So gradient is the size is showing the net, the color gradient is showing the margin. So two things, and the state is visible because of this one. So this is there. Then the same map can be shifted to filled map or the shape map based on the requirement. So we can click on the filled map. So it will show like this. And then we have the state shape map. Okay. Now, if I want to create this map on cities, let me come back here on the map and let me drag city. So you can see this kind of visual. And I'm zooming it by scroll. And you can add the zoom button. There are options to add zoom buttons on the visual. Now, but when you try the filled map or shape map, you might not see the shape map. You have to have the city shape map to do it. So if you don't have that, your option for the cities is, or any location which is even can come with longitude, latitude. So it's not that you have a location, it's call it they call it location, means you can drag the same thing in the look, state in the location, you can drag city in the location, you can drag postal code into the location. All those things you can do in the same field. Now if you have the longitude, latitude, you can also do that. Now there is one more thing which is available on this one, very important thing, which is legend. Now I can go and drag the category in the legend, and they all become the pie visual. Okay, so distribution of net, on different cities. I can drag state on top of it, and these buttons are available. So I can go to city level, I can come back state level, I click on drill down, I go here and I drill to California. I drill up, I go here, Texas, I drill down to Texas. So you can take more than one and you can do drill down. Okay, so there is a question in between. Instead of color name, can we use hex code? Yes, we can use hex code. Hash, please use hash and 6-digit code. Hash with the 6-digit code will work out. Just a simple example we can take to understand this question. Let's go back here. We have this color, and where is our color category? This is our color category, and here one of the color is hash 00FF00. I'm not sure which one is red. Let's try out this. So you can see the color has changed. So hash and this one, hex code. So you can definitely use hex code there. The last visual of the day is what we are going to take, is scattered visual. I've looked at this one. I don't see any questions. If there are any questions, I'm going to take it up. So last visual of the day, scatter visual. Now scatter visual is one of the visual where the good thing is that both x-axis and y-axis could be measures. So I can have a net value, and I'll not take net on this one. I'll take discount percentage on x-axis, and I'll take margin percentage on y-axis. Now you don't see anything here. You see a single dot out here. And details is brand, it could be city, it could be something, anything which you want. So brands, very less dots. We put item names, quite a bit of dots out here. And we went to legend, let's move it to details. Okay. Because till the time it is there on the details, we still have this FX option. So we can do conditional formatting. Now, till now, we have not used one option. Now we are going to use that option out here, that we can use an average line out here. So I can go in the average line, I can say plus, and I say add. I click on one of the line and I can say it's already taken the discount percentage. I click on the second line, it has also taken the discount percentage. I can go ahead and choose the margin percentage. So I can create the 4 quadrant. Now, one more thing which you can do these days, that's the option now. There's a x-axis constant line. You will say, why do I need a constant line? No, don't worry about it. This is not constant. You can go FX here, and in the FX, I'm taking discount percentage, and I say okay. Okay. What happened? Why it is still 0? Let's go. So we have x-axis constant line, We go to FX, field value. It's FX is, let's say, margin, no, discount only. Let's give something else. Let's give 10 here. Let's remove it. I don't think it's working correctly, but you can go and give a major in the constant line also, and the constant line can also be used. Yeah, so it's not always that you need to use. You can use a major in the constant line, and that should also allow you to use there. So we got these four quadrants. Now, once you get these kind of quadrant, now I need to do a little bit of change in this quadrant. What is the best thing for me? Best thing is least discount, which is this, and high margin. So if I'm able to sell something on a higher discount, on a lower discount and high margin, that is good for me. So let's go back to these properties. On the x-axis, and we have invert axis on. So now the lower discount is on this side and higher margin is on this side. So this is the quadrant which I like most. This is what I want it to be. And let's add a size to it. And we can add a size using margin. You can add a play axis also. Now this is too big, so what we can do here is we go here and in these shapes, the size typically 25, 27 is the size which is reasonably good. Okay, so it looks much better. Now I want all the four quadrants to have different colors. It means this should have different color, this should have different color, this should have different color, this should have different. Not the color of the background. I want the color of the bubbles should be different. So we are going to create a measure and carefully look at this. I'm going to call it color scatter. Fine. So switch true. Before I use switch true, I need one more thing. I need two more measures, which I don't have right now. So I'm going to create them here. Var underscore one, var underscore avg, or overall margin, OM. I'm going to call it OM, overall margin. So overall margin is calculate margin, margin percentage, all selected. Okay. And similarly, I need overall discount. I say discount percentage, all selected. Now I can write down colors, return. So what is the best condition for us? Best condition for us is our margin should be greater than or equal to overall margin, OM, underscore OM. And discount percentage is strictly less than overall discount. That is green color for us. Best scenario. Okay. What is the second best scenario? Second best is we can continue to give more margin, greater than or equal to, but we can continue to give more discount, but margin should still be greater than the average. So margin plays a role. Even if we are giving higher discount, it's no problem. We are still able to do good job because we are getting good margin. So let's give it blue color, second best. What is the third best condition for us, or second worst condition for us? Margin has gone down, but discount is still less than average. The margin is not good, but we are not giving great discounts, still manageable condition. Worst condition for us, where we don't want to be. So margin is less than overall margin, and it need to be less than, and instead of less than equal to, it should be strictly less than, and this is greater than or equal to. So discount is greater than overall discount, and margin is less than the average margin. So we are getting less margin, we are getting high discount. That's the condition we don't want to be in. So we cover all four conditions. So four quadrant condition we got. Now we have not used legend only for because of this. So we color on this fx. We say we want a field value and we say color scatter, and you see all together different colors, but there is something wrong here. We see only two colors, not the four colors. So we have to go and check our conditions. Color scatter. Okay, we have used discount percentage. We have to use. You see all the four colors. So now we got all the four colors. I give you this major. The other option is that you add the legends like category and everything. Uh, we we will get the colors on based on the legends like category. But in that case, we can't control the colors. Okay? So you can duplicate it and say if you don't need conditional formatting, you only need legends, and legend should color it. Then let's say I can add. So I already added the name. I can have categories, and based on the categories, I can have colors. Okay. So in that case, you cannot use conditional formatting. You can have color based on the categories. And category colors, you can go ahead and change it based on the color, whatever you require. You will not be able to do conditional formatting, but still for each category, you can decide what color you want based on the color available in the color palette. So these are the things which we wanted to discuss. I see some requests for additional visuals. We will try to discuss that in some other class. The next class by mistake has got cancelled. So in case we wanted to have the next class, I'll reschedule it. So you can watch on the channel the declaration of the next class. Uh, I will wait for another minute to see some other questions if are there. Otherwise, we will wrap up this call. I have stopped the screen sharing now. I do not see any additional questions. So I think that's it for today. Thanks for joining today's session. If you still have some questions which we are unable to answer in the class, or you were not able to ask, you can continue to ask on the chat, on this chat or any other videos chat which is a related videos. So continue asking questions and we'll try to answer you. Thank you.